Hello, 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 hello. What is up, everybody? My name is Mia Hall, and you are tuned in to Brown Girls Glow Live. I am super excited to be joining you for another Monday night where we talk with powerful women about what they do, their careers, and we introduce young girls to the ability to give, lead, own, and write their destiny. We are so excited to have our next guest with us. She is in the room, so we're happy to have her here. I am just going to let you know a little bit about our show, let you know a little bit about our guest, and then invite her in the room. What is up, good people? What's up, Claudia? What is up? We got Ghana in the building. Uh-oh. Please put in the chat where you're tuning in from so we can know where everybody is tuning in from and more. So I started this show in order to help introduce young Black and brown girls to different careers, whether it's in Hollywood, in the entertainment industry, whether it's in justice, like the person that we have coming on today, or whether it's in, fashion and wardrobe. I have particularly, an interest in wardrobe and film and TV. So I have a few people on here that were in that area. And so I myself am a producer. That's why my name is Mia Hall TV, not because I'm on TV, but because I like to produce television and films for television, and films for the theater as well. And also, I have a website, Mia Hall 19. I have an organization, Brown Girls Glow, where we target girls aged 13 to 18. And also, I have a podcast with my dad. It's called Parables from the Projects. We also have Parables from the Projects Productions. That's the arm and umbrella that we produce Parables from the Projects under. So we've had this podcast since 2019, coming on our 4th year. And I'm also, a producer of other content for Vault Empowers. Also working with Stephen Marjorie Harvey Foundation right now. So doing a lot of things, but it's all because I love storytelling. I love people. I love to give back to the community. As I feel like, like Muhammad Ali says, service is the rent that we pay for being on earth. All right. So that is enough about me. I am going to introduce you to our guest with a quick little video of some of the things that she does. And I'm also going to read her bio. All right.
Follow, you dey go. This year, good news, giant plenty money. Follow, you dey go. Everything I've been wanting, manifesting for my life. Everything you've been wanting, manifesting for your life. Even before you call, you don't answer prayer. My papa, you too shy.
Yes, there she is. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about she, who is just a very great friend. So I'm going to invite her up and read her bio, okay? So I met Chi. I will start by saying the way that I met Chidinma. There she is. Hello.
Hey.
Beautiful palm trees in the background, which I miss so much.
LA all day.
LA all day. LA born and bred.
That's right.
That's right. All right, so I just wanted to start by saying, how I met you. I met Chi. We call her affectionately. I'm gonna call her the 3 different names, but Chithefemcee. Oh, I love that. Come on, Phil.
Look, as I start glowing, keep going. Look, the more you big me up, the more pixie dust we're gonna see on screen.
Hilarious. But I met Chi through Brooklyn Women's Prayer Group. We used to have a prayer group started by Charisma Loney Ross. I was like, I know you got a married name. So we met through her and through her prayer group, and it was an amazing time, man. We used to be, just going in at her house or at other people's houses, and I met Chi, and we just, really clicked. We stayed in touch ever since. She used to live in New York at the time. Then when she moved to LA, I followed her shortly after. Oh boy,
That's
I
true.
followed her shortly after. And we, went to church together, just fellowship together. I mean, she supported, she was a producer on my Parables from the Projects live in LA, so me and she, I mean, just have had a long history, and I so appreciate it. She is one of my just best, closest, just most supportive friends, and I really appreciate her so much. I just want to let you know that.
I love you too, baby. And don't forget, you were a producer on my show too. Most folks don't know that. Maybe we'll save that for the story time.
Yes,
But your girl had a show,
yes, the
and you
process.
were
Yeah, the
definitely my.
process. This is why we're talking about trusting the process. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna talk with Chi about trusting the process. But Chidinma Ume is a dynamic professional and master of ceremonies. As a career attorney, systems change agent, and leader, Chidinma Ume is the director of the Center for Justice Innovations West Coast Initiatives and oversees the center's work to make the criminal system safer and fairer. Now, y'all know she's doing some important work out there, so y'all pray for her. All right. Chidinma also served as a professor at Manhattan District Attorney's Office and went on to become the executive director for justice operations at the New York City Mayor's Office of Criminal Justice, where she led mayoral initiatives to reduce the Rikers Island jail population. Come on now, we salute.
Justice.
We salute
Justice.
that.
That's
All right,
right.
now we're switching to as an MC, all right? As an MC, Chidinma Chithefemcee is described as a curator of experiences to remember. With her warm, funny, and energizing personality, she has a passion for helping people enjoy life's moments and occasions of all kinds. She hosts at fundraisers, weddings, birthdays, baby showers, and
Come on.
baptisms, and even a travel group experiences in the U.S. and internationally. Chidinma has a zest for executing the vision for events, elevating the quality of gatherings, and bringing customized twists to make guests feel seen and valued. Chidinma received her BA from the University of California, Berkeley.
That's right.
Berkeley is in the building.
Go Bears, and I see Christelle on. Go
Uh,
Bears.
okay. You got some classmates in here, and
That's
her
right.
law, and she got her law degree on the East Coast at Georgetown University Law Center. She also teaches restorative justice at Pepperdine Law School and is a member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority incorporated. Okay, y'all see her.
So they see it.
Chidinma is a native of Los Angeles and can be found on Instagram at Chithefemcee. Y'all make sure y'all follow her. Anybody that is in here that is not following her yet, make sure that you follow her and check her out. Chi, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mia. This is a long time coming. I'm so excited. Thank you for having me, and thank you everyone for joining.
Of course, man. What's up, Elle? Yeah, thank you everyone for joining. All right, so man, let's just we're talking about trusting the process, right? So you've been on this earth, for however many years you are old. I'm not gonna, put that out there.
We ain't gonna tell the people. We ain't gonna tell. This ain't about to be no Usher confessions session of his, but yeah, it's
True
gonna be
confessions, right? So you
wrap,
have been going through the process, for many years. So can you just tell us, let's start from the beginning. What did you imagine yourself doing when you grew up, when you were a teenager? I'm actually going to start from the teenage years because this show really, like I said, Brown Girls Glow, we're targeting teenage young women. So, as a young woman, as a young teenager, can you just talk about like where you saw yourself in the future?
Absolutely. So my early teens, growing up in Los Angeles, I thought I was gonna be a doctor. First, I just gotta say I'm Nigerian. And as a Nigerian, growing up as a child of my parents immigrated to the States, and any children of Nigerian immigrants will know that there aren't a whole lot of options that you grow up thinking about, right? It's like you will be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer. That's it. So I was like, okay, medicine was interesting. I really liked science growing up. So I went to believe it or not, a math and science academy for high school. So I was very interested in science. I got into these like pre-med programs for high school students, which I highly recommend doing if you think you're interested in something or a particular area of work. And I got my first internship working at a hospital. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. Yeah, I like the part where you can help people, but the part where people are sick, where blood and guts are all over the place, I'll leave that, right? So I wasn't really, I was like, unsubscribe. I'm gonna go ahead and head out, right? Like SpongeBob style. I was like, I'm gonna head out. So I was like, okay,
respectfully.
Right. They were like, unsubscribe. So I had to figure out a plan B. And I recall, this is like as I was figuring out what I wanted to do next, the other thing that a lot of people told me growing up was like, you talk a lot, maybe you should be a lawyer. I'm like, well, what kind of backhanded compliment is that? They got a point.
Right, thanks, I think.
Right. You can decide but then the light bulb goes off. I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe I'll take the lemonade from that lemon. And I connected.
Wait. Speaking of which, I said take a lemonade, but can you just move over to this way a little bit? Yes, okay. A little more simple. Yes, thank you. I want the people to be able to see you because you're kind of under the comments if you don't. So there we go. Yes. We love it. Yeah, now I can see your face.
This is the producer. This is why you produce my YouTube show that no one knows about. They will.
But they part of the process. Literally.
Exactly. So I started thinking about law, and I remember some of my earliest days were advocating for people, right? So advocating for the kids on the playground, right? I was like, this dodgeball. It was like, these aren't the rules of dodgeball. So I was like always that enforcer. And that just kind of connected that interest for me into going into advocacy. So in high school, I actually got introduced to a mock trial program, which was full circle for me. My English teacher in 11th grade was a former attorney. So she had worked as a lawyer and then ended up, she left the profession and started teaching high school English. So she would take us down to the LA courthouse and we would practice these cases and argue. And I got into one of the attorney roles and I really liked it. So that solidified for me the interest in going into law. And I could say so much more about growing up watching TV, right? I was always watching lawyer shows, really connecting with the courtroom drama. So for me, once I solidified that I was interested in law, what I saw myself doing was being a TV style lawyer. So that's the career that I ended up following.
Wow. Okay, come on. The inspiration from the former lawyer turned educator. I love that. I love that.
Shout out to Miss Brakel. Yeah.
What's her name?
She's still there. Miss Brakel.
Miss Brakel. Okay, Miss Brakel. Look at her. Yeah, I love that. I love that. Educator.
It's crazy because the courtroom she took me, the courthouse she took us to, that's actually the first place I got an internship when I was in law school. So, and now that's the same LA courthouse that I go to do criminal justice reform. So it's such a full circle moment. So shout out to the power of exposure. And I just realized it's like snowing.
Yeah, I was about to. Thank you. I was about to, like, I said the center thing. Then I was like, wait a minute, I didn't adjust the sparkles. Right.
I didn't mean to do that. Look, y'all, you can. This is the unplug. This is the bloopers. Is that okay?
Yeah. No, listen, that's fine. Listen, this is TV, like they said on Martin. It's okay. Yeah, but now we have it. Now we're good.
Right. That's how you know it's live for real, y'all. This is not staged.
This is not staged. That's all right. We are overcomers, and we're overcoming it. So I love it. Okay, awesome. So that was high school. Okay, so then how did your college experience prepare you for where you are today?
That's where I learned to play hard, work hard. I see Jamil just joined. Shout out to Jamil. We went to the same school together, UC Berkeley.
Nice.
Let me tell you something. College was where I really learned to advocate for Black people. Yeah, because growing up, I grew up in a pretty diverse, mostly the city that I grew up in LA is pretty diverse, but the area I grew up in is mostly Black. And I'm Nigerian, so I'm used to seeing, West Africans. But the schools I went to were actually pretty diverse. So I can't really remember my early childhood years being in an academic setting where I felt like an unwelcomed minority, right?
Okay.
Until I went to college. And I remember, so I went to UC Berkeley and I started, by the time I started, the numbers for Black folks was dwindling. And when I started, we were down to 2.8% Black on campus.
And weren't they the first school to stop affirmative action or something like that? Or is that a rumor?
Yeah, the UC system definitely stopped affirmative action. And that's actually a lot of the discussion that we had when I got there was like, we really started to see the effects of it because the Black community was powerful, right? But it was small in numbers. So my first week on campus, I made sure I signed up to live on the African American floor, right? So I would be in the dorms with people who looked like me. But our first week on campus, I remember there's this big gate that kind of welcomes students to campus. It's called Sather Gate. It's like one big arch, right? And my first week on campus, there was actually a noose hanging in that arch. And
Your first week?
Our first week. And that was followed by an article in a magazine. I won't say the name of the magazine, still remember it though. But it was followed by an article in the magazine talking about how unwelcomed Black people were in the community.
Wow.
So,
wow.
Yeah, that was quite an orientation week, right? I mean, Berkeley was amazing. I had an amazing experience. I love the university, and I don't think that act was reflective of the Berkeley mission and values, but it was certainly reflective of some people who wanted to make sure that we didn't feel like that was a place that we could fully embrace as ours. So what happened next was actually so powerful. The Black community really rallied together, as we often did, as we typically did, and protested.
Okay.
And we had a peaceful protest in response to the noose hanging. And we had, we had our Black shirt. We always had these like Black T-shirts that had some kind of powerful message, right? They had like 2.8% on the Black on the back, or like caution, educated Black student, and we put on our all Black, and we sat there and peacefully protested. And that was kind of my first act of like, okay, all right, so we're gonna have to keep this up.
Okay, this is part of the justice journey. All right, I hope y'all are following. The justice journey. Man, you had to stand up for yourself. You were advocating for everybody else, then you had to advocate for yourself.
Right. And I was amazed by the leadership that fellow students just like me. I mean, we're talking about like folks who are basically teenagers, right? Like teenagers plus a year or two, we were like 18, 19, 20, 21. Out there like some freedom fighters, and they, everybody just had this sense of conviction and unifying about what we needed to do, and folks showed up. We made it happen. It was beautiful, yeah. And that kind of coalesced the experience in college of the Black community, and just the need to advocate. So there was that prepared me for my career. The second thing, and just keeping it real, because the young people need to know, right? We got to balance. So Berkeley was fun. Berkeley was a lot of fun. We had a lot of amazing people there inside the Black community, outside the Black, it was a diverse and wonderful group of people who were just passionate about life and who were just amazing. So I partied a lot. I had a good old time. I hung out a lot.
Listen, keep it up 150%.
Absolutely. I mean, people who are on the live who knew me in college, you'll be able to attest. Like I had a lot of fun and made sure we all had fun together. So I had to learn, like, how do you do the thing that you came to do, right? But also do the things that you want to do. So that's something I had to learn in school, where I had to make sure I knew my deadlines, and I had to make sure I knew how to schedule my day so that I could be at the party when I wanted to be at the party, but still make my papers, or still get my work done on time, and still read for class as much as I was going to read for class, when I read for class. But and that was a real life lesson for me that came from college, and it's helped me in my career too. So even in the intro, as you described some of the things that I do, some of the techniques I learned about time management, I don't have, not that I have figured it all out, but a lot of what I still do, I learned in college.
I love that. Okay. And what was your major?
I majored in rhetoric, which is actually an uncommon major. Majored in rhetoric. I did a heavy emphasis in Spanish, the study of Spanish as well. But Berkeley is one of only a few undergrads in the country that offer rhetoric as a major. And funny story, my dad picked the major for me. That's a whole lie for another day. But that was what I studied, and that also helped prepare me. Thank you for asking, because it helped prepare me for law school, because rhetoric is the study of persuasion. So it's mixing English and philosophy. I liked it because I got to study English without going too deep into Shakespeare, right? And philosophy without going too deep into philosophy. So it was a nice medium, but that's what I studied.
Wow. Okay, I've known this lady for 59 years. Ain't know her major was rhetoric. Wow, I never even met somebody with a major as rhetoric. Okay, well, look, that's why I love having these lives, because I want to expose these students. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to do English. Maybe you don't want to do philosophy, but maybe you want to go in between and do rhetoric. What? Drop the mic on them and be like, what's your major in? Rhetoric?
Right, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So I love it.
Me. I'm that person at the restaurant who's like, I see these two items on the menu, but can I have some of this and some of that one? That's what I did with my major. You a school that'll let you do that.
I love it. Rhetoric. Okay. Come on, rhetoric. Okay, and then so you said, did you have your heart set on Georgetown? You were like, all right, boom, Georgetown or bust, or how was that journey going there, and what was that experience like?
So Georgetown was on my list, but I didn't have my heart set on it. I just wanted to go to the best school I could get into, just keeping it all the way real. And that's a good motivation. A lot of people have that motivation for law school and med school or any type of advanced degree. But I knew I wanted to go to DC. So I applied to Howard, I applied to George. Those were the two DC schools I applied to, Howard and Georgetown. And I wanted to go to DC because I said I wanted to study law in the city where laws are made. I wanted to be proximate to power in the United States, and have an experience of being able to go to the Supreme Court, being able to go to the Capitol, and being able to go to the White House, quite literally the three branches of power that run the country at the federal level, I should say, because there's power in the people. Let's not get that twisted. But I wanted to be in the midst of that, learning about how our society runs. So I knew I wanted to go to DC. God prepared my heart for it. I started kind of moving in faith to get to DC. And when Georgetown accepted me, I was like, all right, good looking out, God. It would have been real awkward to have to figure out another plan, but it worked out.
I love it. Yeah. So did you go directly, like once you graduated Berkeley, right into Georgetown?
I did. I went straight through. And that's something when people ask me, what would I have done differently? That's one of the things I would have done differently. I would have worked in between college and law school. For me, the reason I did it was because I love school. Like I said, I loved my time at Berkeley. I had great, friends, and I loved learning. So I said, okay, we don't have to stop this party. We can just keep going. Law school will be the same thing, right? Wrong. Lots of learning for sure, but it was just different. It was different. I also went to a big school, Georgetown, and what I found was there was about 50% of students who came directly from undergrad, and the other 50% came with professional experience. So I was working with people who ran presidential campaigns, people who had careers as doctors, right? People who lived internationally, who were in the Peace Corps, America. I mean, they did all these amazing things, and they brought this rich life experience to how they learned law and how they approach school. So I was looking at them, I was like, their hustle's a little different than mine. I was like, I'm working very hard here, and they're just sitting there back in class, not taking any notes. Like, I was like, this is interesting. So I think that's the one thing I would have done, is worked a little bit I would have worked full time. I'm one of those folks who I've worked since I was 15. I worked for law firms. But I think it's a different thing to come into school as a professional. I think I came in as a student into law school, and I think if I come in as a professional, I think for me it would have been maybe a more, I would have been able to connect the dots a little bit more in real life versus kind of learning the law as like concepts. So that's something I would have done differently.
Okay, got you. All right, so y'all hear that? And I honestly agree. I feel like, when I went, straight into grad school, it is, you look at the people that like took some time. So that is, our advice. Both of us say the same thing. If there's one thing that, that we could do differently, not that I would change my experiences, but yeah, going in with that professional experience and going in for me with more money, with more scholarships, I probably would have took my time, got some work, maybe had my job pay for it, all this. So So yeah, that's a tip for you brown girls glowing. Okay, awesome. Okay, so Georgetown, man, I want to ask so much about it, but I want to continue on your justice journey so we can get to, how you discovered your emceeing. But so can you just talk about like your career from there? Like if you could sum it up, kind of like your
Yeah,
career in justice.
absolutely. So going back to wanting to be a TV lawyer, I knew that I wanted to be in the courtroom. And I did a couple of internships when I was in law school that basically led me into the career of becoming a prosecutor, which was an interesting experience. And I heard a lot of feedback about becoming a prosecutor as a Black woman. A number of folks were surprised. They were like, "Oh, that's interesting. Why are you going to do that? You don't want to be a public defender?" And the truth was, I actually did do defense work for a year when I was in law school, and it was amazing and transformative. My heart was for telling the story of people who were victimized and who survived crime. So that's why I went the prosecution route. And then from there, after a few years of working as a prosecutor, I wanted to explore how to change the justice system and how to work in it in a different capacity, right? So we have a current system of justice that offers some solutions, right, to certain types of crimes. You have a whole justice system process that we don't have to get into, but I just started to see some areas of opportunity where we could serve people like us better, right? We can offer them more healing through the system, more fairness through the system, more transparency around why certain people are going to jail for this X amount of time and why others are going to jail for, or not. So being able to be more transparent. So that led me towards the justice policy, justice reform route. So I left the prosecutor's office in New York and went to work for the mayor's office of criminal justice in New York. And I was actually, I tell it this way, one day I was an attorney in court handling cases, and the next day I was an attorney working outside of the system trying to change it, working with folks all over the city, working with judges, prosecutors, all those same folks I was kind of working with on a case-by-case level. We were working on the system change together. So that was fascinating to me. It was a blessing. Worked on the case. I don't know if folks have seen Time, the documentary by Jay-Z, or I guess that's supported by Jay-Z. But it's about Khalif Browder, a young man in the Bronx who spent 3 years in jail waiting for a case that was then dismissed, and he ended up taking his life. Rest in peace to Khalif Browder, and much support to him and his family. After that incident happened, the mayor of New York at the time said he wanted to do something about it, and I was fortunate enough to be able to lead the project that came out of that.
Wow!
So,
kudos to you, man, because that was an amazing film, and that's why I love the power of film and media. You know what I mean? To really get to garner people, galvanize people, get them to take action. So yeah, no, kudos to you on that.
It was transformative, amazing, and it was nothing but God, because he placed me in that situation at the right time. So just giving him the glory and honor for landing me there. But that opened my eyes to systems change. And I said, oh, this is interesting. I've been quite literally arguing on my cases for years. And I switched to a side where I'm trying to get more done by consensus, by agreement, right? So I said, okay, this is better. I got tired of arguing. I was like, I can't do this anymore, the cases anymore. So for me, I wanted to continue down a justice system path. So I left the mayor's office and actually moved back here to LA, where I'm from. And since then, I've been working at the organization that I'm at now, the Center for Justice Innovation, doing criminal justice reform. I've been here for 5 years. I started out doing criminal justice reform at different places around the country, so different states, different counties. But most recently, as of the end of last year, I'm shifting my focus a little bit. So I'm in a transition to focusing on our West Coast work and growing our presence here, because we do a lot of work all over. We've got a lot of work going on in New York, but we could use more West Coast presence. So that's what I'm doing here along with my team.
I love it, man, and congratulations to you, man. I remember when you came to LA to take the bar, and I was like, she really leaving New York, and now you're just over there moving up the ladder, and and I remember you used to be traveling like all the time, so man, so now you're doing it on the West Coast. Okay, I love it. Okay, so now I want to talk about what you do as an MC, and your other interests, because I know you also have a Nigerian law student mentoring program, and you're teaching law at Pepperdine. I feel like some people say Pepperdine, but it's Pepperdine, right?
Pepperdine, yes.
Okay, yeah, Pepperdine. Can you just talk a little bit about how did you go from? Well, I guess you didn't go from it because you never left it. But I know that, you have this side of you that enjoys like talking to people. And I guess it's kind of still, you're still doing the same thing that you would have done when you were prosecuted and when you go into these meetings and, help social justice. So just tell us how did you start being a Femceeing?
Okay, so you want me to bypass the other stuff?
I know.
And just go straight to
The Nigerian law students. If that came first, I have it all in like one list here. But if what came, let's talk about the Nigerian law student mentoring program and what mentorship means to you.
Okay. So this is the power of saying yes, and the power of being who you are. So after I started at the organization I'm currently at, the Center for Justice Innovation, and I see my former colleague on, Chloe. Hey, Chloe. It's going to be the shout outs all night.
Yeah, shout out to everybody joining the live, man. We appreciate y'all.
Yes. Thank you, good people. Feel free to drop some comments if you like, or some questions. So when I started in this role, I actually heard from a law professor of mine from Georgetown, who was working on a criminal justice reform project in Nigeria, where I'm from, where my family's from, we are Nigerian. And she said, we got this project in Nigeria, come work on it. And I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about, but okay, like what project, but yes, right? So I said, yes, join the project. It was amazing. And as part of the project, we are working with law students in Nigeria to give them more opportunities to do hands-on work with their learning. And for me, that was critical, right? So when I was in law school, I did a one-year clinic where I was defending people, real cases on parole and real criminal charges. Transformative experience. It was absolutely amazing. And my clients were awesome. It showed me so much about the system and seeing people as people. So I hear about this and I'm like, oh, count me in, right? Like, I'm all for clinical education. So I signed up for that. And we actually got to meet. We went to Nigeria. We met with the students. It was beautiful. And I kept in touch with a few of them. One of them actually came out to the States from Nigeria and is getting her LLM out here. And it's just kind of an amazing story of keeping us in contact. And one day, the organizers asked me they asked me for feedback, right? Like, what could we be doing more of or less of? And I said, hey, we've got this amazing network of law students. They were part of the focus of the program. I said, we should do more to cultivate their experience and their talent. And they said, okay, do you want to run? I was like, what do you want to do? Do you want to run something? You want to run a program? I was like, okay. And they were like, well, how about a mentorship program? It's like, okay. It's like, you want to start it now? Okay. Like, it's just a series of like, sure. Not that I've ever done that formally, right? I've done it in mentoring informally, but I said yes. And we started during the pandemic in 2020. So virtually, as you can imagine, right? Like having a virtual mentorship program across continents. But we did it. I worked with an amazing co-lead, and Ngozi is her name, and we recruited law students from across 3 different universities in Nigeria. We had more than 50 students. We got more than 38 mentors, and we were meeting regularly during the pandemic. And the feedback from the students was that it was transformative for them too, that they got connected with professionals, that they felt more ready for the workforce. We focused on those who were graduating, like who were about to graduate and then who had one more year before they graduated. So for them, it was a very pivotal time to get some experience and direct practitioners to help them open up new opportunities after graduation. So that was absolutely amazing. And it was full circle for me too, to be able to help in that way.
I love it. Well, thank you for that. And thank you for all that you do, as a mentor. I consider Brown Girls Glow a mentoring program, just trying to show people the way, right? Then they say mentor is like I don't want to get it wrong, but I think it's like from the Greek. And it's like, this mentor like showed like his, whoever his mentee was, like the way. So continue showing people the way.
Come on and break it down with the etymology. You better go ahead, man. Professor Hall.
Look, I ain't major in rhetoric, but I know a little something, about something. You know what I'm saying?
Look, you like, I little bit.
A little bit, so you know what I'm saying. But okay, and then I know you teach at Pepperdine. I mean Pepperdine. Look, now I'm calling it Pepperdine. But you are a femc. So tell us how how you trusted the process. One, and really, I want to say broke out into. I feel like it was always in you, but yeah, how did you bring Chithefemcee out of you?
So, I'm just gonna say this in case folks who watch this or who will one day watch this find themselves in this situation. But for me, even though I was walking my professional path out and just very grateful for it, I was still searching for the thing that felt like what I was created to do, right? So I was still able to help people. My job, the work I do is amazing, but I was still kind of yearning for something that really felt like my essence, like I could bring my full essence to the table. And I remember growing up, I actually wanted to be an actress to the point where even when I was working as a prosecutor in New York, I was taking acting classes outside of work.
And you were in a book? Weren't you in a book? Or aren't you, I guess?
I think so. I can't remember. Maybe.
Yeah, I think you showed the prayer group. Like they included you in this like acting book or something like that.
Oh, you have a good memory. Come on. With the brown memory glow. Good memory. I forgot all about that. That's true. But acting was inside of me. And I think if I go back to it, that's part of what attracted me to all those lawyer shows on TV was the storytelling. Yeah. So that was kind of in the back of my mind. Thoughts about maybe one day acting, and then I took the acting classes and I was like, I like the art, but I don't like the lifestyle. The lifestyle doesn't fit me. So I said, okay, well, I don't know what we're gonna do. So fast forward to 2021, emceeing kind of fell in my lap. Most people are kind of surprised when they hear this, but my entry into the emceeing field actually came from a funeral. So my uncle, God rest his soul, passed away, and I helped my mom and dad plan the funeral, and we were at the memorial service, and I'm realizing, I'm like, somebody's gonna have to MC this thing, because the rest of the family is not really in the condition to be moving the program along, the program we discussed. So as soon as the priest finished his thing, he closed us out in prayer, and he looked at me and he was like, well, who am I gonna pass it to? I said, me. So I walked up there and just kind of moved the program along, brought the crowd along, and it was hybrid, so we had people in person and like 100 people on Zoom, quite literally all over the world, calling in from Zoom. And afterwards, I sat down minding my business, and after that, my phone started ringing.
Wow.
Hey, can you MC my baby shower? Hey, can you MC my baptism? Hey, can you, my birthday party? Can you do my wedding? I'm like, what? Can you travel to come and do my wedding? Why are you asking me? Like, huh? So it just started out as something I was just doing because people asked me to do it. And it was my sister who said, she's like, this, you have something here. Like,
come on, Kels.
You being yourself. Oh, this was Kels.
Oh, no, wait.
This is my older sister.
Okay.
Yeah. They all sisters said.
Okay.
Yeah. Everybody said. They were like, you should explore this. You have something here. And I said, oh, that's interesting. So I explored it, and it led me to leaning into it as an MC, a
femc. And now you're doing it. That's
crazy.
Whew, you're doing it.
It fell into my lap. It is crazy. And now that I think back on it, I'm like, this is the thing I was praying for over those years, right? The thing that I was searching for. I was like, I want something that feels like me when I'm doing it, and where I can bring my personality and my heart for people. Truly, my heart is to help people enjoy the moments that they're experiencing as they're living them. And sometimes I'm able to, I'm not really, that's kind of a hard thing to do in the work setting as the work, right? But as an MC, that is the work. So it fits.
I love it. Whew, like I said, I could talk to you for days and hours and hours and hours and hours, but
But we ain't gotta go home. But we got to wrap it up. Yeah.
She is a very busy lady, everybody. I don't know if y'all saw her with Kamala Harris. You know what I mean? She often, just helps world leaders, you know what I'm saying, do their thing.
Yeah.
Watch in between femceeing and, fighting for, you know what I'm saying, reform of the criminal justice system. But yes, I like to always like to
Meanwhile, you about to hang up and go hang out with Auntie Michelle Obama. The West
see.
Wing is probably texting you as we speak.
She said she
So
got me with you first. She said she got me with you first. I said, oh, okay, Auntie Shirley, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna just take a step back. I'm gonna take a step back. But I do want to know for the young ladies that are watching, and for, really anybody that's on though, what advice would you give to your teenage self? You could pick, an age that you would like, but what's something you would say to, young teenage Chidinma to inspire her, give her advice? What would you want to say?
write your dreams down. Write them down because you may forget, which I feel like is what happened to me for a while. I was very clear that I wanted to become an attorney by the age of 25, right? Thank God that happened. I became an attorney. I started practicing 13 days shy of my 25th birthday. So once I started focusing on my career, I started to forget the other things that I wanted to do. And acting classes along the way, being invited to do mentorship, being invited to, to volunteer, those things helped me to experience my dreams a little bit, but they weren't really a focus. And I got to a point where it was actually hard for me to dream again. I would say that's part of what brought me back to LA 6 years ago, is that I was like, wait, we need a reset. I was like, hold on, I need to clear my head, and I need to get into a place where I can tap back into myself and what I want to be doing. So what I would say to myself is to write those dreams down, so that if I have moments where I am forgetting all the things that used to excite me as a kid or as a younger person, I have it somewhere to be able to tap back into. It may not look exactly how I thought it would look. I'm not a TV lawyer like I thought I would be, but I am a performer like I wanted to be, right? So I would memorialize and keep it somewhere where I can access.
I love it. I love
Look at
it.
Chloe. Chloe, can you come back to NYC now that you're dreaming again?
Now that you get right. She went to LA. She said, that's done. Okay, you finished. Finito. Look, I would love to.
I love it. They say you go to New York City if you want to find yourself, and you go to LA if you want to forget it.
Ah,
So
really?
I need to go.
Hilarious.
Maybe
I love
go
LA.
another direction.
I love LA. I love my time there. Okay, well, thank you for that. No, that is very good. I can't, I would be remiss not to, ask just, one more question just about your faith, because I know that we wanted to talk about that, and I would, and I know that that's a big part of your journey, and that's how we met. So, I just want you to speak to, whether it's young people, to anybody, how did faith inspire, you to trust the process and your justice journey and your journey period, honestly?
My experience of God is how I know what trust is. I am a make things happen type of person, right? Like, I'm a driver. I'm like, let's go in. Get Chloe. I love it. I love Chloe. I love you, girl. Thank you.
She said she is the prayer queen.
Girl, Chloe, all of us, we be praying. We had a prayer group, us and another good friend of ours. I don't know if she'll want me to share her name, but we had a prayer group. Chloe's a dear friend and dear prayer partner. Mia, you a dear friend and prayer partner. Look, everybody, look, all love. But I like to make things happen. And God likes to laugh at that. Like, girl, you tripping. Sit down. What you doing? What you doing? You think you're driving? You ain't driving. So those moments where it was God who connected the MC dots for me, right? Like, I knew, generally speaking, that I wanted to be a personality, but I didn't know what that looked like. And it was God who helped translate that into a vision. And as it was happening, this is how you know you're not in control. Because as it's happening, you don't even know what's happening, right? So my phone is ringing for emceeing. And I didn't even connect it. Like, oh, you should become an MC, right? So it was God who was showing me this is what I want you to be doing. If you keep doing it, you'll see that I'm answering your prayer. And then when I stop and think about it, I'm like, oh, so he was answering the prayer, right? So for me, moving forward is an act of trust, trusting God. But if not for faith, I would still be trying to drive. And I might have driven myself right out of MC, right? Like I might be like doing auditions for Law and Order, season 25, if I wasn't just positioned and following the path that he wanted me to follow.
Okay, I love that. I love that. Well, thank you. Thank you, man. Yes, that's how you know. Ooh, I love that. I love that.
I love it. I love it, like Hercules, like
listen, I gotta clap for her. I gotta clap for her. Give her. I can't give flowers right now, but I can give claps. You know what I mean?
I know.
Yes. Well,
the little color purple clap.
Get out of here. I can't. Well, Chi is one of the. Like I said, man, I just salute you. I do want to give you your, let's say, the words of flowers. Yes, and Kenitra, thank you. And Chloe,
Yes,
everybody that joined, I thank you for your comments. And yeah, don't drive yourself out of God's best for you. That's so good. Exactly. But yeah, Chi, Chi, when I was at my lowest, in recent years, but even just through the years, you have just, and your family, just looked out for the kid. Like, I would just say on a personal level, y'all hear what she does professionally, but if she's a friend, or even if she's not a friend, you know what I mean? Like, her family has looked out for me. She has looked out for me. I mean, time and time again, consistently, like not just, in recent years or recent events, or, when somebody passes, nothing like that. It's more like since I've known this young woman, I say young woman, but since I've known this boss, president, everything under the sun, she has just been consistently just amazing, and a true woman of God. Like, that is a true example of, God working through somebody to fulfill his will. So y'all follow her if y'all are not already. Y'all support Chithefemcee. Of course, if you need anybody for events and everything, support her. Y'all, just make sure that you're sharing this live with a friend, especially with a young girl that you might know that needs some inspiration, that needs some encouragement. And y'all stay tuned, man. We got more people coming through, and we just want you to feel inspired. We want you to feel whole, healthy, and we want you to glow. So thank you so much for joining us, Chi. Thank you again, man. I appreciate you. So clap. We appreciate everybody that's on now. We appreciate everybody that's watching the replay. And y'all make sure y'all stay tuned, man. Anything else you want to say to the people, have them support you, follow you, anything?
Thank you for having me. Follow me. I do all types of events in person and online. And Kenitra, yes, events. Absolutely. I do events. I MC events of all occasions. I travel. I'm based in LA, but I travel as well. So follow me and let's keep in touch. Thank you all so much for joining me, and thank you for having me. Love y'all, and God bless.
God bless. Mom, I see you.
We gotta do the Soul Train. We wish you love. Peace.
And to glow. So glow. All right, y'all. Have a good. Wait, let's take a picture. Okay, because I got to screenshot something. All right, later.
Did you get it? Is yours auto?
Well, I'll just screenshot. Like, that'll be what I use. I'm starting to learn. Like, you gotta pause for a second so you can use that as the cover image.
Hire me as a production effort, y'all. I can attest.
Hey,
my YouTube shows that I will uncover.
Oh, speaking of which, it's a link in my bio if y'all want to support Brown Girls Glow, man. Hit that PayPal link if y'all want to support us. I appreciate you for that reminder.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Have a good night.
All right, for real this time. Bye, everybody.